So Leo is the sign that got me into astrology because me personally, I have my sun in Virgo, but my moon is in Leo, right?
Hmm.
So prior to getting into astrology, I always thought to myself, like August and September, that's my favorite time of the year. That's always been a very, very good time of the year for me. So
Hmm.
I learned a little bit about the sign of Leo, the very basics, and it made me think about a football coach I had. His name was Leo. Okay. Football started August 1st. His name was Leo LeBlanc. Shout out to
Hmm.
Coach Leo. Coach Leo, I shit you not, would always talk about heart. And he was from Fitchburg, and for some reason they have very serious Boston accents. And you
Hmm.
gotta have heart. He would say that, like this guy Leo LeBlanc. So it's like as soon as I thought about, oh my god, August, Leo, Coach Leo, I'm like, oh my god, there's something to this astrology stuff. And I thought about my own personal life, like, oh my god, that's why I love August and September. It's right in my chart. This is ridiculous. So this sign for me is sort of the entryway into astrology. Leo the Lion, Dr. Narco Longo, the Old World Florida Channel, Astro-CHADS series. What do you have to say about Leo?
Leo, man. Leo is the cat. That's where we get the word lion, or vice versa. Leon, Leon, Leo, and feline. Leo is all about leisure, right? So we find in the word feline, we find another word, felicity. So that is very much how Leos tend to be.
Do Leos lie a lot? Because they're lions?
Not as bad as Libra, though.
Oh, shit.
The
Okay.
light bringer.
Okay.
Libra, the lawyer, is the law.
Hmm.
Judge. Daniel, meaning judge. So feline, the word line is contained within the word feline. Now, feline is also the same root as felicity. So you will find that characteristic often with Leos. Now, in the word Leo, like we find the lion, we also get the word leader, leadership, right?
Wow.
Leisure,
Dude,
le-
Coach
leisure.
Le- dude, Coach Leo was obsessed with leadership. And once, dude, I swear, once I understood that concept, I like didn't really respect a lot of my teachers because I was like, yo, these people aren't leaders. There's a problem
Hmm.
here.
Hmm.
Coach Leo taught me about leadership, and you guys just aren't it. So that's huge. That's incredible.
Yeah. So also leisure, and cats like their leisure. They're also Leo is an especially acrobatic sign, and the two most acrobatic signs are Leo, Aries, and then Gemini. Well, it's because acro is the same root as aggro, like aggravated, and this is a fire characteristic. So you have Sagittarius is where you get words like agitated, Sagitta, agitated. But aggro you find in Aries. But also, Leo shares in these characteristics because it's a fire sign. It's just like Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. Those are all fire signs. And the order they actually go in is Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Leo, leadership. So Leos, Aries like to be at the front of things, the pioneer, the trailblazer. Leos like to be at the center of things, if that makes sense. Like the sun, right? The sun wants to be like the heliocentric model,
Or
right?
like the
Same.
Ringling Circus in the ring, sort of. You know what I mean? In the arena, sort of.
The
Okay.
center of attention. Leo is all about being the center of attention. So they make the best performers, entertainers, they make great dancers, acrobats. Leos make great salesmen. Okay, all these things because of this leadership. They can lead people, right? What's it called when you're out getting sales? You're out chasing leads. Or if you're leading someone on the phone, you're leading them to the hook, to the punchline, to the sale. So leisure, right? Some people say that all competitive sports are ruled by Leo. I would say they're either ruled by Leo or Sagittarius, especially ball or projectile oriented sports, very Sagittarian. But Leo tends to be more, the best front men are Leos, singers in the front of a band. So you have this lead singer. someone's a lead singer. Leos are great in that role. Someone who is capable of leading. Leader, like we said, but this leader is not someone who's out in the front. This leader is more in the center, keeping everyone orientated from the middle. And leave, so if you have a leaf on a tree, so the word leave has that same li. Now, li means light in so many languages, li, or lu, li, right? But li, just like the fleur de lis, right, the flower of life, well, the word leave takes the li from the light of the sun. Why? Because this leaf is the part of the tree which receives the light of the sun. So a leaf is what captures the sunlight. Leo is ruled by the sun. Now that has to do with the fact that they're a fire sign, but they especially are ruled by the sun. And this time of year, as you touched on, the last third of July and the first 2/3 of August, that is Leo. And that is when the sun is in his kingdom at its highest, at its strongest. So the sun is exalted in Aries, but he rules Leo, the sun. So also from the word Leo, we get words like, who has ever seen a pack of lions? They are very loyal. They are very regal. Now the word regal goes back to legal, right, left, R and L. They switch in so many languages. Loyal is the same as royal, as I said. So royalty, loyalty, royalty, and regality, to be regal. These are the qualities of Leo. And you also have from that Roy, you also have words like Ray, Rex, and Ray, like the king, meaning R-E-Y, the king, or Rex.
That's interesting because a ray of sunshine, right, and ray in Spanish, right, is,
Exactly.
there's the group, the Latin Kings, they say amor de rey, love of king. So ray of sunshine, ray, king, same thing.
Yes,
Interesting.
sir. Yep. Rays
And
of the
their
sun.
color is yellow. Go figure. Wow. Very Leo group.
Rays of the sun, for sure. And you also have Leo's all about pride. So this is why you have the pride of lions, right? Does that make sense? And well, that's about all I got for the name.
So what are some of the random things that Leo rules?
So Leo rules gambling and salesmanship, like just, cold calling people or knocking on doors, soliciting, right? If you're soliciting, you are eliciting the sun. Soliciting. Leo's ruled by the sun, right? So if you're soliciting, these things are ruled by the sun. And gambling, I don't know too much of the etymology behind gambling. I should, but gambling is ruled by the sun. According to many astrologers, your sun will show up in the 5th house, or your father, depending on, because the 4th house is the mother, 5th house might be the father or the son, depending on some astrologers. I'm not going to comment on that right now, but that's the connection between sun with a U, sun with an O, in the sign of Leo. And, fathers what do they like to do? They're the leader for their son, and they engage in leisure activities with their son, right, in the hopes of developing leadership in their son, so that they can be proud of their son, right?
Like Simba.
So what else does Leo rule? Man, I wish I had my book in front of me. Just celebrities, movie stars, and
let's look it up. Where does the rulership book? Is there a book online of the rulership book? Add that to my cart. Rex, you know what's funny? The rulership book is written by Rex E. Billis, King, Ray of Sunshine.
Yep, Rex E. Bills.
Oh, Bills. Okay. Body part. That's a good one. The heart. Let's go into that.
So I'd just say Leo rules bravery. People who are Leo are brave, courageous. We're going to get to that word a lot. Because the cur, or the core, is the heart. Corazon, right? Or coeur de lion, however they pronounce that in French, means heart of a lion. So the phrase heart of a lion is consistent in many, many, many languages. And this is because Leo rules the heart and the willpower. You could
So
even
it's
say
safe to say for body part, it rules the heart.
Leo rules the heart, and some would say the back,
Okay.
the canvas of the back, the large kind of the solar panel of the body for absorbing sunlight. You always hear singers, songwriters talking about sun on my back. You know, it's just this having the
Or
sun on
putting
your
their
back.
soul into something, sort of putting their sun power, their heart into something, putting their soul into it, you know?
Hmm.
So is there any correlation with the heart chakra to Leo, the astrological sign?
Not so much because that's a seven tiered system, or a kind of seven, how would you call it? Well, actually it does. I mean, I shouldn't say that. It completely does because it's ruled by the sun. So Leo's ruled by the sun. Heart chakra is ruled by the sun. But there's other ways of looking at the body, like when you look at it 1 through 12 with the Zodiac, it links up perfectly, and Leo rules the heart in that system as well. Going from Aries at the top, Pisces down to the feet, you'll get this Leo lines up with the heart when you look at it that way. But then also, you have Moon at the bottom, Mercury, Venus, right? Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun in the heart. Yes. Mars, Jupiter, Saturn at the top. So yeah, the sun rules the heart chakra and the sun rules Leo. So yes, they absolutely are connected.
So what does it mean when somebody has their moon in Leo in their chart?
Right. So the moon is your, some would say, the inner self.
Hmm.
The side of you that expresses emotions, because the sun rules the moon rules the ocean, emotions, the motions of the seas, the tides, and you want the moon, not that it has to be, but you want the moon in a feminine or dense place, harmonious with the qualities of the moon. Now, if you have moon in a hot and fiery sign, that might throw some of those lunar qualities out of whack. Now, that being said, it's very good for competitive spirit, because now your emotions have been placed in a sign of leisure, leadership, competition, and bravery, courage, excellence, royalty. But this might rob you of some of those more, emotional, nurturing, motherly type qualities
I'm
of
cool with
someone.
all that. Everything you described sounds awesome. I love it. Okay, I love that placement then. Sounds cool to me. That's awesome. That's why I did so well under Coach Leo, because of all the things you told us. You told me right now. Told the
Now,
audience as well.
I'll say that Leo moons actually make tremendous mothers, very protective, involved mothers,
Wow. So
because
you want a chick with a moon in Leo, essentially.
as long as it's balanced out, because that's a lot of fire for
Hmm.
the moon. Like I said, if it's not balanced out, that moon can be a little bit not cold hearted, because the Leo is hot, but the passion can be more anger or quick temper or very high expectations. But Leo for the moon, this gives a total mama lion combination: moon, mother, Leo, lion. So for women, I think, who live in their moon a little bit more, I think that's good. And women with a Leo moon might break free of relationships and step out and be like, hey, I'm number one. I'm not settling for being
Start her own pride, essentially.
under somebody. Well, yeah.
So I have a Florida related lion question to ask you. Have you ever been to Lion Country Safari in Florida? Because I used to go there as a kid.
Fuck yeah, I have.
Oh my God, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, because one thing I do remember about that place, though, is a lot of the lions were very sleepy. It almost looked like they were sedated, but that sort of speaks to the sign, if you will, because they do like to take cat naps. If they're not performing, they're sort of in a feline, relaxed state.
Hmm. Yeah, well, here, I can touch on that, because Leo rules narcissism. Okay. Now, if someone is a narc, what does that mean? It
They're
means three things: that they're
mhm,
either a drug person, right,
mhm.
engaged in like vice, a narco, right, a trafficker, and you could look at that as a type of salesmanship, right? You could look at that as like a playboy. Leo very much rules this just light approach to life, like hedonism, you could say. So the narco connection is this: that Leo rules narcissism, but what else has that root? Narcolepsy, right? So sleepiness and sudden sleepiness, very cat-like, is it not? And yeah,
That's funny because my mom's a Leo and she falls asleep, she could fall asleep wherever. And as somebody who has their moon in Leo, I am susceptible to falling asleep if I'm sitting down. If I sit down for more than 45 minutes, I could fall asleep. I used to fall asleep all the time in
mm,
class because it was like, if I'm going to sit here for 45 minutes and it's like kind of hot out, or maybe it's kind of cold out, I got a hooded sweatshirt on and I'm not paying attention, I'm going to sleep.
hmm.
So that's very Leo like quality. I didn't know that. That's amazing. So within the celebrity world, who are the most prototypical Leos?
Well, I've got to go back to the frontmen, lead singers. They're the most stereotypical, archetypical, quintessential Leos. Is people like Mick Jagger, okay, Lane Staley, Alice in Chains, died young. Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin, or Lead Zeppelin, right?
Hmm.
Led Zeppelin. Well, there's another reason that they have the name Led, having two Capricorns in the band, ruled by Saturn, which rules lead, blah, 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 blah. Robert Plant, and anyone who knows Robert Plant, these high, like screaming vocals of Led Zeppelin. And then you have Lane Staley of Alice in Chains. Those two's vocal style is so unique, not to mention how similar they look, both having this blonde lion, like lion's mane type aesthetic. So yeah, Robert Plant, he's the biggest Leo there's ever been, with just a huge, like mass mane of blonde hair, fluffy blonde hair, and he's the biggest Leo there's ever been. And then you've also got people like Jason Statham, who was in the movie Crank with his heart getting taken out, and it's this heart movie, his heart's getting pumped full of like adrenaline. Then it needs to like get electrocuted in the next movie, or vice versa. And it's just the most Leo movie ever. It's called Crank or something.
Yeah.
But he's in a lot of those where he's always competing, athletic. Ben Affleck, another Leo, and his girlfriend Jennifer Lopez. So here's another thing about Leos. Okay, they get twice the recognition for half the work. Leos. So they can piss a lot of people off because they get all the recognition. Leos and families tend to be like the golden child, even if they, everything they do is good. They can do no wrong in the eyes of their family. And
I got a quick question I've always wanted to ask you about
sure.
Robert Plant and Led Zeppelin. Then I'm going to bring up my most prototypical Leo. So does this song, Immigrant Song, we come from the land of the ice and snow, the midnight suns, does that sort of tie into the Phoenician research in a way, or some of the the Bach saga and whatnot? Because ever since I've like sort of dove into your research, that song has entirely different new meaning now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the Vikings coming down, but there's also this Tolkien. They're obsessed with J.R.R. Tolkien and Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Robert Plant was especially, and then Jimmy Page was obsessed with Aleister Crowley. So together, that's Led Zeppelin was J.R.R. Tolkien and Aleister Crowley. So yeah, I don't know how much they talk about Phoenicians. I haven't gone through many of their lyrics a ton.
Pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to bring up the most prototypical Leo in my view is Dion Primetime Sanders.
Yep.
If you were to YouTube this man's highlight reel, it's performance art at an athletic level. He used to start celebrating his touchdowns 30, 40 yards to go. He's not even in the touchdown and he's already celebrating. He's probably the most performative, right in the middle of the ring, like you said, performance artist as an athlete I've ever seen. And even to this day, he's sort of using his leadership to create this Colorado Buffaloes football program that was 1-11 last year, but is now, through his performance, especially on social media, is attracting all of these big primetime players to transfer over to be led by Dion, and his name almost sounds like a lion. Dion, lion, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So he is just a prototypical Leo to such a almost comical degree.
Yeah. And Prime is almost like Pride and limelight smashed up into one word.
Yeah.
Leo's like that. They're like the primo. They like to be the best, the top, the center. Like I said, and he's a bit of a salesman. Going
Big
out
time.
and recruiting, and he's all about heart too. And with this pack mentality, he's all about this. Well, many people would say that Leo rules family, since Cancer rules the house. Then Leo, next sign over, rules family. There's different ways to look at that. But I'd also say some Leo celebrities. You'll notice this theme here of them getting a lot more recognition than talent. Leos, it's never really talent. It's always kind of showmanship or X factor that makes up for talent. With all due respect to Leos, lots of talented Leos. Not saying that, but you'll notice this. Jennifer Lopez, like I said. Okay, what is she? A singer, actress? Is she especially good at either?
She's got a few hits, right? She's got like a handful of hits. Her and Ja Rule, they were a good combo, but
Meghan Markle.
Okay.
Barack Obama.
These are just hacks. Leos are kind of hacks, dude. They're kind of hacks. They get all the credit. Meghan Markle, Obama, hacks.
Kylie Jenner, Jennifer Lawrence, Sandra Bullock, Madonna, Chris Hemsworth, Shawn Mendes. Name one Shawn Mendes song.
Couldn't name one.
Charlize Theron, Jason Momoa, okay, Mila Kunis. Now here's a good one. Steve Carell. He's a total Steve Carell in The Office. Total attention seeker. Totals Leos are like that. They can't shut up. Complete narcissist. Not in like an insidious way. They can't help it. They're just so self-centered. That's their superpower and their curse. Daniel Radcliffe, Joe Jonas, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know about that. Some people place him as Cancer. I think he's a Cancer cusp. But yeah, Leo makes sense for him too. Mick Jagger, like I said. Cara Delevingne, Whitney Houston, Halle Berry.
Wow.
So yeah.
Usain Bolt.
Yeah, quick
Big
guy.
time.
Like I said, Leo's all about quickness, agility, running, stretching. Leo's excel at yoga. But that's a lot of celebs.
So what's it like dating a Leo if you're a woman dating a man or if you're a man dating a woman? Tell us about that.
So Leos like to have the attention. They like to be the one getting worshipped, the one getting the attention, getting the praise. They're all about praise. They need the praise, if that makes sense. So that can take the form of attention, affection, etc. Leos want to be the king. They want to be the number one. That's typical of Leos. Now, I should have said early on that with Leos, you get two types. Okay, only two types. You get the lion, which is the most common type. The lion, the loudest person in the room, the brightest. When Leos walk into a room, it's a party. They light up the room. That's their gift. So they turn up the voltage, the amps. They turn up the energy wherever they go, like the sun. They light things up. But like the sun, some people don't like to be around them for too long because they're so hot. They burn so bright, burn so hot, and they take all the oxygen out of the room. Everything has to be on them. Not in a bad way, but this is how things are. And they're like the sun, so you can't blame them. And I would also say, so if you're a man dating a Leo woman, I'll be honest, I would say that the differences between Leo men and Leo women are not as great as other signs. So Leo men and Leo women, in my opinion, tend to be very of the same ilk and one-dimensional and not differentiated based on sex. They both tend to be this attention-oriented, yeah. But they, like I said, they make great athletes. They make great presenters, entertainers, telemarketers, gamblers. They see the bright side. They can see the bright side, so they can get reeled down, and be somewhat unaffected.
Other than dating, let's say there's two dudes that are Leos or a bunch of guys that are Leos. I mean,
Hmm.
they're going to have to establish rank fast or there's going to be some
Right.
battles, you know?
Now, men and women, Leo, can actually do well together. They can balance each other out because they can somewhat, kind of like celebrities, always band together. You'll find Leos, oddly, you wouldn't expect it, but doing well together. For example, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. That's probably, who knows if that's some orchestrated fraud,
I
just
think they like each other. You know, they probably like
media.
each other. But
Yeah.
yeah.
But regardless, you'll find Leos, they're comfortable with each other's ego. They know how big their ego is, and they might have burned a lot of people in their life already, or have come to understand the effect that they have in other people's lives, being this big burning presence, and that they just feel better off with someone also like that. And if they're not asking much from that relationship, they can be fine with that. That's the way I look at that. But two Leos of the same sex tend to not vibe and tend to have to drift out and create their own solar systems, if that makes sense. And Leos create their own solar system. There tends to only be one Leo per friend group now.
Wow.
And like finding bands with multiple Leos in them is very hard. Whereas you'll find multiple Capricorns, multiple Scorpios, multiple Cancers, all the time. You'll find that in bands. Multiple Leos, that's tough.
So, loyalty with Leos. What happens if you were to break their loyalty?
Well, they're ferocious, right? They're ferocious. They can be fellows, and they believe in fellowship, but they can be ferocious, ferocious, right?
Mhm.
Fellow and furrow. They can have a furrowed look on their face. They can be upset, angry. Think of the lion from
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz, right? But I don't know what else. That's really it.
What are some facial features or typical clothing styles of Leos, men and women?
Right. So Leos tend to dress exuberantly or flashy, kind of a look at me aesthetic. And as far as facial features, Leos, it's cliche. It's a stereotype, but it's true. Hair. Leos are known for hair. Their hair is going to be very prominent. Whether your sun's in Leo, ascendant Leo, hair is going to be a prominent feature of this person. And it doesn't always have to be blonde or a lion, like the big, unique, doesn't matter. Hair is going to stand out. And then I'll also say, just for a face, all the fire signs tend to have big eyes or big, kind of bright, outwardly set eyes. And Leo tends to have these big, bright eyes, right? And they can shine. And Leo also tends to have just a large face, kind of like a cat. Or a lion, especially. You just see this large face. So Leos tend to not have, rarely will you find Leos with like these long aquiline features or witch-like features or crooked features. Leos tend to have balanced faces, almost like Libras do. Leos tend to have these temperate, pleasant faces, but they have a bright. Leos are all about charisma, too. All about charisma. Charisma is char. So burning bright, carbon, charisma.
So, I'm thinking about this connection between the sun, the lion, and gold. Is there any correlation between Leo and gold?
Yes. So gold is the metal of Leo and the sun. So the sun has a metal, which is gold. The sun also ruling Leo. Leo is associated with gold as well.
So I'm honestly thinking about getting a gold chain with a lion near my heart. Would that be cool? Because I'm not even kidding. I want to do that.
It would be cool, and it would be
Yeah.
good. It would be good for your heart.
hmm
Hmm.
What are the health benefits of gold?
It's a superconductor. Gold on itself conducts electricity, I think, around like 99%, but monoatomic gold conducts electricity at almost 100, so even closer. Some would say 100 if you do it right. Monoatomic gold can be ingested either with water or it usually comes like soaked in water, but it's a white powder. Very, very fine white powder. Monoatomic, meaning gold usually has like 8 molecules, or I don't know, 9 molecules or something, but this is only 1 molecule per atom. So one gold, monoatomic gold atom is just literally 1 molecule of gold. So in that state, it doesn't clump up as a solid metal. It just sits as a powder. It's a light white powder. If you mix water into that powder, it gets very viscousy, like jelly or something else, splooge.
Are there any foods that are ruled by Leo? Perhaps lemons?
Yes, sir. Yeah, lemons, citrus, and it's not a stretch to say that's where you get your limelight. Your
Hmm.
lemon light, your limelight, the sunlight. Leo rules citrus, limes for sure, but oranges, limes, lemons, oranges, lemons for sure, limes, grapefruit, all citrus for the most part.
So it's interesting. Some people seem to believe that August is sort of the harvest season. Other people are saying September, October. Is there any harvest correlations with Leo?
No, other than for me, it's hard, like the heart.
Okay.
But harvest for me, except it's usually a Virgo
Hmm.
for me that signifies the harvest universally. That changes depending where you are in the world, but
Okay. So are there any other planets that influence Leo?
Leo is actually only ruled by the sun, and according to most astrologers, nothing exalts in Leo. Nothing else is showing up or influencing it. It's just the sun, and that's kind of what you'd expect from the sun, which is the brightest, strongest thing in the sky. It takes center stage in Leo and doesn't make
Yeah.
any room for any other planets.
It's very regal to only be ruled by the sun.
Hmm. Yes, and that's why, like I said, you'll only get 2 types with Leo. Well, I didn't clear that up. The one type is the lion, okay? The cat, the lion, the tiger. This is the most common type of Leo. The other is the mouse. You have the lion and the mouse, right? The lion who helps the paw, the thorn out of the paw of the lion. So,
The, the mouse is more of the quiet worker, right? Just wants to
mhm,
kind of do their thing, maybe get some snacks and go back to their leisure, it seems, with
mhm.
the mouse.
Yeah, so you'll find a very small number of Leos, a small percentage of Leos being this kind of church mouse archetype,
Wow.
being very quiet, perhaps submissive, more laid back, passive. But most of them are that rock star center of attention.
So if you're a Leo and you want to be a rock star center of attention, they probably don't like to watch. They probably don't like to be on the sidelines in any sense, right? They probably can't stand it. They probably get totally dejected if they're not in a primary role. Primary, that's another
Hmm.
very Leo word.
Yes, it is. Yeah, they like to be involved, and they have competitive nature, and they are, like all the fire signs, they can be very arrogant. So they might not understand that it's somebody else's time, like a cat. Cats don't care what schedule you're on or whatever. They demand attention, they demand affection. So Leos are like that too with cats. They expect a lot of attention, but they might not be giving a lot in return.
Are pretty much all cats ruled by Leo?
For the most part, yeah. Felines ruled by Leo. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, Virgo rules all pets in general in the sense that they serve humanity. Because Virgo rules service, but
So what are your favorite types of felines other than the lion?
I'd have to say the Florida cougar, the
Wow.
Florida panther. I also like the bobcat. That's not just a Florida thing. I love bobcats and the short tail and the very regal ears and the mutton chops. That's what I was trying to explain earlier is the lion, the original royal cat of Egypt, was a sphinx. And we can tell this from its mutton chops. There's no animal that's alive like that today in North Africa or Africa that has the mutton chops like this Florida bobcat or a northern lynx. So I like the lynx. I like the bobcat Florida Panther, Florida Cougar. Yeah, Black Panther. There's legends of Black Panthers, Florida.
Wow.
Also,
That's
something called a Jaguarundi. Check those out. Jaguarundi.
Have you ever seen the ocelot?
I've seen ocelots, not in person,
Okay.
like in the wild.
hmm So one thing I want to ask you about Leos, right? They're big on honor, they're big on loyalty, and how do they feel about people who lie or people who are liars? Do they hate them?
So Leos can be very principled,
hmm
and it's not necessarily the same like truth or like benevolent self-righteousness that you might find with like Sagittarius. But Leos can be very self-righteous in the fact that they do think they're the best. And Leos have this very, not to use narcissistic harshly, but narcissistic attitude towards life. They're very much the center. Everyone's just like a pawn in their life. They're the king on the chessboard. And many people are just sacrificial pawns, cannon fodder. And they can move on very quick. Leos, right? They live in their heart, but their heart is usually geared towards themselves. And that's not a bad thing. People don't. They are the sign that is permitted the most kind of self-absorption. So
being in the heart, though, they're sort of in the moment, aren't they?
Yes, they live in the moment. That's why they bring the party wherever they go.
Might get themselves into trouble, maybe sometimes making impulsive decisions.
Yeah, Leos can be very impulsive for sure.
Or very reactive. If they see prey, they just fucking claw at it,
Well, they won't back down like Aries. You could say that about every fire sign, that they're very ego, aggro. Every reason to fight, they've got it. You know what I mean? Like ego, anger issues, arrogance, self-righteousness. All the fire signs can be guilty of this, but Leo for sure.
Is there anything you want to say more about Leo? We could go through the planet. Oh, we already went that astro-etymology, physique. I think that's kind of it. What do you think? What's the I'll ask you one question and then we'll close on that. So something I'm really interested in is the relationship between Leo and Virgo. Maybe that's just my chart, huh?
I'd say that Leo is the last hurrah for the daytime and the light and the kingdom of heaven. And then Virgo is when it's the verge. It's when things start tilting down, start seeing the end. And then Libra is the full fall, where you've fallen. You're taking your next step into the second half of the year. So Leo's the last hurrah, you could say. It's the biggest, that last pulse before the sun goes out.
Interesting. So we know what time of year Leo is. Is there a specific part of the day that Leo is? Is it around 5 p.m. maybe?
So Leo rules, if I'm not mistaken. So here you go. Aries is 6 a.m. Then 2 hours, 8 p.m. Sorry, 8 a.m. 6 a.m. is Aries. 8 a.m. is Taurus. 10 a.m. Gemini. Okay. Noon, Cancer. So then 2 o'clock in the afternoon is Leo.
Wow, that's interesting because that's
hottest.
It's also sort of a siesta time, which is very feline. You know what I mean?
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
And it's the hottest time of the day. Very interesting. Okay. Cool. So Leo is the last hurrah. That being said, this is the last hurrah of this video. Very, very excited for Virgo because that's my sign. I have a lot to say about that.
Yeah, Virgo's a good one. Virgo's a good one. It goes deep. Virgo's all about caves, hermits, hermetics. Yeah.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man.
All right, dude.